Flower of Life and Phyto 5. A geometric pattern of evenly spaced repeating overlapping circles of equal radii in two-dimensional space. Resembling a mandala, it's a sacred geometry blueprint representing the primordial desire for completion and unity of self. For this reason, Phyto 5 adopted the Flower of Life to graphically depict the quantum nature of its 5 elemental lines of skincare. Like the tangible flower, the Flower of Life blooms too, radiating the first vibratory patterns of the universe, showing us that all things emerge from one perfectly organized pattern. The geometric pattern of the Flower of Life represents the essential concept of quantum physics. Phyto 5's energetic 5-element lines vibrate with a potency that registers in the quantum range of frequency. The Flower of Life is used as a focus both for study and meditation, but it should not only be viewed as a thing outside of and separate from ourselves. Follow for more or gain insight to add energy medicine to your healing practice. Go ahead and visit tonyadee.tv/Phyto-5 or email info@tonyadee.tv, and I will see you on the other side. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Blessings to you, my energetic being.
My apologies. Round 2. I just realized I did a podcast yesterday and I didn't have the Mikey mic connected. You know, two mics. Got to have our Mikey mics. But either way, blessings to you, my energetic beings. We are in a snowstorm here in Salt Lake City, Utah, the big slush of the universe. But it is a fantastic Friday. But this storm, it's crazy. The heavens are literally, I wouldn't even say they're showering a blanket of snow. I mean, it is slush. I don't even know. It's kind of wild and wicked out there. But we're getting to that. So while we're waiting for people to hop on, dive into the replay, really taking a breath and a pause, once again, climbing into the zone of neutrality. How was the first day of Pluto in Aquarius for you? Just curious. Any hiccups, any insight, any emotional reprieves, feelings percolating? You know, I would definitely for sure journal this week as a week in review if you did journal, or take some time and do that this weekend, because we are only going to have, I believe, like 81 days before Pluto comes to a standstill, and then it starts percolating backwards into Capricorn. So kind of standing in this doorway, the precipice into the all or the nothingness. Like, are we truly ready to like dive into the realms of Neverland? But now that we are taking the stage of the 9th energetic center, the soul's harmonic, the book of life, symbols, sigils, signs, the worlds or the realms of seeing things through the eye of the Great Spirit, the universe, the unbelievable, really being encouraged to explore new, exciting, soul-vibrating sensations down to the core of our soul, bringing things in from the multiverse, things about ourselves in this moment of self-discovery or a reverie. You may actually receive insights, being gifted a better way to behave within yourself, inner acts of kindness, acts of love, peace, joy, happiness, my favorites, and being in authenticity, integrity. Really feeling those sensations and more on the inside of who you are, spirit to soul, within our bodies being embodied. And with the ruler of Aries, Mars, finally leaving the stage of the mind, Gemini, let me tell you, I am one. It's been there for a decade, it feels like. But a new door is opening for our action towards ourselves, moving forward. You might have been literally at a stalemate with your thoughts, not moving forward, and just learning and understanding, feeling and knowing that believing is a better choice, whatever that is for all of us. So with that, welcome to the Daily Snippet. Once again, I am your host for a reprieve here, practicing holistic shaman medium, an otherworldly life coach, and a subtle energetic surgeon, a reflector by design. And I do go by the term holistic shaman medium, which is just a merging of them all, a choreography. But my intention is to use the wisdom of the indigenous technologies, the elemental realms and the elemental beings into the imaginal realms, our original divine blueprint, to navigate our soul's harmonic, which is online today, through these realms, like who am I, through the dimensions, portals, gateways, the cosmos, Pluto, the shaman's portal, along with Aquarius. You cannot make this shift up, with offerings, prescriptions, and rituals. I truly believe ritual is the seed of our soul in so many ways, to really add to the voice of our origin in our container, our embodiment, food for our soul, actually. Our personal medicine, awakening possibly our prime directive, our gift in purpose, opening that door so that our light shines ever so brighter. My name, once again, is Tonya Dee, and welcome to my virtual medicine room, my show, my channel. Please subscribe if you have yet to, either YouTube or my Musing with Tonya Dee podcast. That's kind of where I'm navigating the trenches lately. But the season of Aries, who am I inside of me? That's kind of where we're at. Before we go any further, though, I want to give a glorious shout out to all the new peeps entering the village, the community. I always like to give a voice of acknowledgement, a validation that I see you, new friends and guests arriving, and blessings to you. Thanks for joining, new subscribers. I appreciate that. And also those of you that do tune in, have been part of my journey since the beginning, or maybe tuning into the replay. It really does take a village, a tribe, a gratitude and a blessings to you and for you. We kind of got to create a community here. And those of you that do tune in to the replay later as well, if you don't mind, of course, hitting the bell button along with the white rabbit. The white rabbit, I love that. There's a reason for that, following the white rabbit. And a comment if you feel that you're in need of a message for your day. I do have a message for today. Sharing is just another way of paying it forward. You could also find me on TikTok. I'm having a little hiccup myself with the choreography of the political arena using our voice. But just remember, I am your otherworldly shamanic reflecting assistant. You truly are your own healer. But sometimes we have energetic hiccups. We need an otherworldly life coach, myself included, to get us out of our own magical way. And that's kind of what's happening. Believing. We need to be believing in who we are authentically today. The daily snippet. What's this all about? The cosmic insights, the planets. So by design, I do follow the lunar energies, the moon, through the seasons and also through the gates. The moon navigating through the season of Aries and these gates, our root channel, physical, feeling the empathy, the physical empathy, rooting our intentions, manifestations, moving into the season of manifesting our emotional foundation. The moon's in Taurus, the earth star. So that is very fluid, but yet it's manifesting, things taking form. It's a very different moon moving through this season of the inner child. And the elementals, the 4 pillars, I love these. I do a mystery guest on Sundays about the 4 pillars. So if you ever want your chart looked at, and the energies, the subtle energies, the chakras, the channels, often, sometimes I feel like the channels need some tuning, using tuning forks actually, or tuning forks or essential oils on the meridians, the acupuncture centers, even the auric fields. They've really been tuning in lately. So we're in this corridor of upgrading our ego, of how we're treating ourselves within ourselves, how we behave inside, our physicality, our image, our plans of action, even if we're defensive within ourselves. What's the posture? Are we confident in our being, our self inner imagery? What's the image inside of us that's going on? Our inner feels like nature, what's going on in our own inner sacred garden, right? And the outer imagery, how does the world outside of us see us? What is it reflecting or shining back to us? Are we appearing new? It's this energy of moving forward finally, with Mars moving forward and out of the season of our mind, thank the gods, just making things happen. But it's also the energy of the sports dad, the hero. Thank you, Christopher Renstrom, for that. The energy of action, creating or manifesting in the season of Aries. So we all have this happening somewhere for us, by the way. But it's like being energetically encoded, the biological, I'm thinking of the biology of our beliefs right now, within our root intentions of survival. So it's a part of us. It's actually activated in the womb, by the way. So you might be feeling like you got to go back to that inner aspect of when you were in the womb of your mother, the waters of the moon, the womb. What was the frequency or the words, or what was happening while you were in the womb of your mother? And the environment, like what's the choreography there? This is happening for us, but it actually began probably while we were in the womb. I want to go back like six months before we were actually, when we first landed in the womb, I guess. And then once we arrive on the earth plane, it kind of carries forward about 6 months to a year. And then our sacral energy gets activated, our feeling center, along with our earth star. So you may wish to kind of reflect, if you can, on this time of your life while you're in the womb. What was the emotional field of your mother? What was the environment like? What was your dad like? Kind of feel into these aspects, the ancestral, our seed codes. I'm just kind of musing here because that's what's been coming into our, like our DNA, our divine codex, and just asking ourselves, who am I? So we have the root center, the heart shining light upon our heart space, the field of security, safety, survival, being rooted, embodied, choreographing or doing this cosmic dance, and synchronizing with our shaman's portal, the Akashic records, the shadow records. You might actually look into those, along with the soul's harmonic. This is where the book of life is. The way that we see, or the Great Spirit sees us, we can literally rescribe our story in the book of life when we connect with this. And this is where beliefs come in. It's the eye of God. It's the purity of the oneness, the golden chalice. So it's time to rescript the story of who we are and our beliefs about that. You might even find your root center to be choreographing with the biology of your beliefs. Bruce Lipton, I actually was on a live stream with him. He's great. He's totally funny too, by the way, if you've never witnessed him. But grounding is truly the energy, the aspect of the season of Aries, grounding into an element that really brings in that ingredient of you feeling safe, illuminated, secure, manifesting, embodied. The elements all carry a choreography. I talk about that in the Rising of the Origin. It's a free immersion I do 2-3 times a year, but I'm actually bringing in the Witcher's Way to Manifestation. But either way, there's an action that we're able to initiate through our heart space, the heart field, if you will. And just remember, the sun shines upon everything. It's the shining starlight into these crevices, even to the balancing, the opening up to receive an invitation, a doorway, a gateway. So it's like, are we ready to reconsider our beliefs, the biology of them? Are they even ours? So when we heartfelt believe and trust in who we are, the structure expands, opens the door to all these new aspects and experiences, whether it's a new theory of thought or a school of whatever it is you want to do. But the key is to be in the flow, holding the synchronicity. Things are percolating, all of these things, and they're taking us in a variety of directions simultaneously, timelines, lifetimes, all the things. But the note to hold, the access for this key to access it, is the right ingredient. Is it a specific calling? It lies within our heart's authentic desires. So you kind of have to sit and ask yourself, what does my heart desire? And then focus or hone in on that frequency. It's a focal point at time, like one focal point. And the choreography really always has a base note, if you will. And within that, we're kind of exploring, what do you believe when it comes to how you treat yourself on the inside? Whether it's, it could be anything from your clothes you wear, the people you surround yourself with, the foods you eat, what you do for a living, all the things really. And you may realize that there is a copy that's outdated or dated in time and space that really continues to be a copy within the beliefs and the behaviors of how you were treated by your parents, your mentors, etc., growing up, teachers, all those things, even religious aspects. So as children, we subconsciously absorb energy, frequency, vibration, what we learned or saw growing up. And often, a lot of times, what we've heard and what we see are not in alignment. So we carry this unforeseen energetic hiccup. So as you flow through the waters today, the rivers of life, the sea of life, journeying into these corridors, just observe your innate root center, if you will, the physicality, the physical, and how you respond to yourself inside of yourself. And asking yourself, what's the belief or the reasoning behind your response? And is it true? Is it authentic? Dive deeper into those threads, taking a pause. I always like to take a pause, be in observership, be in the zone of emotional neutrality, the heart zone of neutrality, or just the zone of neutrality, really. There's got all these zones happening for us simultaneously anyway. But being in consideration of our heart, what does the star that you are, what does your heart truly believe in that choreography, the theory, the thought, etc.? And have you learned it somewhere else once upon a time? Is it even yours? in your prime directive, your gift and purpose, the objective is to truly explore navigating this story, the scribe, not so much a scripture, but the scribe through these corridors, different theories or ideas and beliefs that you hold true about yourself and how you've been treating yourself. So it's time to remove the sheets, uncover the sheets, or what's under the sheets. What have you authentically believing about yourself to be true, along with the treatment that you believe. Do you deserve to be treated that way? And just notice where you've grown over the past years. I'm going back to the experience of my growth myself, and I'm sure you have too, but just be aware of where you deserve to give yourself a promotion, a celebration, treating yourself better, opening the door to a different way of being and treating yourself, whatever that is. Myself, I am literally musing about where I can fit in another day for exercise, weightlifting predominantly. So as you sit with yourself, embodying who you are today, uncovering what that belief is or a theory that you've held true about how you have been treating yourself. And then upgrade your beliefs using the book of life, writing a new story, a new chapter, erasing things of self-beliefs that aren't really yours, and setting a new stage, a higher octave within the eyes of the divine and self-love. That's really what's happening. If you're able to do that, take time and space in your choreography. Words have a lot of power, right? So just a few announcements. Thanks again for tuning back in since I didn't have my mic connected. But tune into this episode of Musing with Tonya Dee Podcast. I can't even believe this is happening today. Gods in a Box, Luciana Passeri. An amazing interview, I just want to say. A great conversation. She actually just launched her book titled Gods in a Box on My Dresser. Plus, can I just tell you, she's created these indigenous shoes. They're crafted, handmade, designed, well worth it. And they're so beautiful. I couldn't even decide which pair I want, but they're just handmade, custom made. So by the indigenous people of Peru, mind you. Sundays, I do a mystery guest in the Rising of the Origins. I am actually looking at moving that to a community off of Facebook, kind of percolating how that's going to meander out. I do that on Sundays, the 4 pillars of Chinese astrology, the elementals. I think it's finding our useful elementals so we can choreograph the life we're meant to live. I'm also relaunching the beta for A Witcher's Way to Manifestation. There is a link for that. It's an opportunity to join me for an introduction, kind of just introducing what this even is. And then, of course, we have the indigenous ways of Mongolia, people who wish to travel to the land of these medicine people, being in spiritual congruency of the origins there. So yeah, lots is happening, and then nothing's happening, right? It's the all or the nothingness. It's kind of the treadways. But on the elemental highway today, we have a Yin Metal Snake of a day. The snakes always remind me of Jungle Book. You've heard that before. The Yang Fire in the snake. We've got Yang Earth, Yang Metal in storage. The Hour of the Pig. That's when the Yang Metal's released. Hopefully it's Yin Metal. We do need that. Yin Metal is more of a refined metal. It's luxury. It's clean. It's distinct. It's black and white. It reminds me of a house that's white, mostly a white house, maybe with some black or some gray, and then little splashes of color, obviously plants. Yin wood is plants, but a house of metal design. You could put a fire pot there if you wanted, a red pot with the plant in it, something like that. Fine detail, fine tooth comb kind of stuff, but analyzing our situations, achieving goals. The snake has the gift of power. The mate is probably a person of power. Along with resources, the Young Earth is this element of surprise, a hidden resource for our day. Wealth for this person is actually earned from hard work, creativity. You have to do the work, this kind of energy. Often it feels like to me like the energy of somebody like Tesla, where the creativity is misunderstood or it's understood, but it's not welcomed until the person is no longer here on the earth space to receive the rewards. Kind of a topsy-turvette, but our day is in the flow, the energy that needs to be brought out. It's like getting the downloads, using our voice, metal, communication, talking about it, water, getting in the flow, sparks of insight, being supported. And the earth, I would do a ritual on or for the earth, nurturing and identifying where do I belong? Where does my star light up? I don't know. You could also write down, journal your goals down to the fine details, the outcome that you're actually focused on. It's kind of what I'm feeling there. Okay, and I do, of course, have a message for the weekend, and don't worry. I'm doing this again. Coming in from the Fae, this is the Soul Shrinker, the 55, which is being mindful. It's an energy of our mind. It's Gemini. It's Mercury. What do or are our thoughts inside of us? What are they saying? What are the thoughts? What it's radiating out into the world? The outer thoughts that are not even yours, but it's our thoughts and the outside thoughts kind of coming together. Two channels, I guess, of the mind percolating. But when our thoughts inside of us and outside of us are in alignment, that's when we manifest. And we have to be in the congruency of loving a thought, trusting a thought, and ourselves, self-treatment, a new way of thinking about ourselves, being within inside of ourselves. But the Soul Shrinker is part of the Fairy Challengers. I would actually say bringing us face to face with how we believe we should be treated or how we have been treating ourselves inside of ourselves. This is all going on inside of us. So have you been denying yourself, abusing yourself, deluding yourself? So the test on a day like today is one to bring us to our own inner awareness of how we have been treating ourselves and just being ready to level up. It's the betterment. Move to a new level of treating yourself better. How we treat ourselves is how the world outside of us will treat us, reflecting it back to us on the stage of life. So this is about cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, destructions, but it's also blessing. So that's kind of what the Soul Shrinker, he's got a distasteful task, right? But it's to observe what we say about ourselves and about others, especially those words that are nasty and unnecessarily critical. So just by being in observership of our own behavior this way, reflecting it back to us, making us more aware of that, it's kind of the Bodhisattva, a spiritual being devoted to assisting to bring about this enlightenment for all the things and all of us. That's his type of job. It requires great compassion, understanding, forgiveness, mercy. So if the Soul Shrinker himself is not to be dragged down to our level, if we're being nasty, if we are inwardly sputtering or looking for words, he may suggest to us the words that express our feelings, our energy, our vibration. Then it is our choice, our test, whether or not we actually say them. So there's actually two malicious things going on or important issues. One is the gossip, the criticism. It's not necessary. Cruelty, verbal cruelty, sarcasm, stuff like that. One is that it demeans our voice, what we're saying, our speaking voice. It makes it less, making us less, actually dimming our light. And it also darkens our auric field in dimming that light. It encourages the behavior. It creates a habit, continually eroding the brightness. Why do you think I'm scrubbing my energetic fields? People outside of me. So the potential goodness of our voice, using our voice, the other important thing is that this is a way that we actually kind of curse others along with ourselves. Even if the recipient doesn't actually hear the words of the blessing or the curse. Even if the words are not spoken out loud, they are carried as this discordant frequency, this song, the notes, right? When somebody's tuning forks are out of balance, it's the song that carries the waves out into the universe to the recipient. However, this is not all there is to it. So what happens is the behavior becomes unforgivably kind of wicked, and that's not really a very pretty way. But we all have the choice whether or not we accept the curses or the blessings if we choose not to accept them. Then all this energy boomerangs, returns back to sender, who then gets a double dose of it. So what's curious is I actually have had this happen a few times because words, they kind of map and they move, telepathy in a weird way. But I actually had somebody send me blow up my phone with text messages, and I literally waited a full day in observership, didn't even read them. I just said, I returned all said words to sender with blessings, like taking it back. And I actually did that with an email. I didn't even read it because it was just too much, right? So once upon a time long ago, the Soul Shrinker actually was very beautiful, mystical, and magical. But then just listening and witnessing all the ugliness of humanity rubbed off on his appearance. So it's kind of like when we leave a fish in a glass bowl and we never clean the water, a polluted pool kind of things. But it makes the skin raw, hideous, gross, I actually witnessed this in Alaska. I was with my dad a few years ago and there was a fish I caught and it actually had the nuclear waste to deform the fish. It was kind of freaky when you think about it, but I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But just having a heart that's both compassionate and anguished, the topsy-turvettes. So his heartfelt wish is that we learn to speak, I would say, positively and having optimistic thoughts as well. So every little wicked thing a human says makes us more ugly and him more ugly. And every time we learn the lesson to speak in, I would say, tongues or tones, I don't know, I'm getting all downloads light language here. But every time we learn a lesson to be more loving, I guess, that's when the soul shrinker becomes less morphed, less ugly. So you can see, when you think about humanity and what's happening for us right now as a whole, a community, we are kind of working through this. A lot of us are just recalibrating and upgrading how we treat ourselves. It's necessary. So our soul and the shrinker soul elevates to a new foundation, if you will. And we all know critical, malicious thoughts, words, they really have detriment, their effect on our situations within ourselves, along with people involved or around us, our environment. So taking steps to banish the energy, whether it's a curse or a signal or whatever, through the channel of love, streams of grace, compassion, universal streams, or at the very least, just through forgiveness or a refusal to accept the curse into ourselves, and also understanding the implications of this transforming and shifting our behavior, and along with our feelings. It's often, it's a difficult challenge to step into our own spiritual development in our human growth. But one of the things usually involved here is taking our own responsibility for who we are, our own feelings, rather than blaming the world outside of us, the environment, for the way we are. So we're really upcycling what we believe about ourselves to be true and who we are within our belief structure. Another part of this process is to learn to just be more compassionate towards ourselves. That's where healing happens, in kindness. And if we can do that, it's much easier not to be horrible in our inner world, in our inner choreography. And this doesn't mean that we're all supposed to be all sweet and light and all those things. You can have the its if you want. But honest criticism, constructive criticism, compassionately given, is also a part of being authentic, being real. And the reality is, it's a great thing to be in touch with reality at the same time as spirit, just treating ourselves better for the betterment of not just ourselves, but the world around us, and examining what we believe about ourselves to be true, the way we should be treated, and just working both of these beliefs and these actions. A lot of times our beliefs about ourselves leads to a certain level of treatment. Like if we believe we're not smart, we're uneducated, we're dumb, dumbing ourselves down, we may also treat ourselves that way on the inside. Or if we believe we are not enough or worthless, we may avoid investing in our own inner value, valuing ourselves. It doesn't cost money to value who we are inside of ourselves. So really taking a moment, a breath, and a pause, and just looking at what you believe about yourself today. What do you believe about yourself to be true? And reveling and revealing, opening the door, seeing yourself with new eyes, the book of life. What treatment comes as a result? So you might consider that pause point, changing both our inner beliefs about ourselves along with our behavior that we might have towards our sacred garden. Are we pulling the weeds? Believing in ourselves is also an act of receiving. So I believe in the miraculous that happens all the time around us. So maybe take notice of your own inner miracles and treat yourself as the miracle that you are. I do have an affirmation, but I think it's important to create our own, that we believe in ourselves authentically, and scrubbing out beliefs that aren't our own. In our biology, it really up levels our cell dynamic in ways that are wonders, really. Just remember, the waitlist is open for the Witcher's Way to Manifestation, monetizing our medicine, our personal medicine. It really is the simplest way to manifest for whatever the block is. Usually it's an energetic block, our subtle bodies. We skip what we heartfelt desire and love. We don't pay attention to our feelings. and our beliefs, which the soul's harmonic is shifting today. So really make it a miraculous weekend. Love yourself more, even into the eyes of the Fae, the divine, the soul shrinker. Send out good love out into the oneness. And I will see you Sunday for the mystery guest. And thanks for tuning in for a repeat since my mic wasn't working. That's hilarious. I cracked myself up. So yeah, with that, I say Ashe, blessings to you and for you, and I will see you on the other side. Ashe.
Places. I'm in the front seat. He's in the back seat. We're going to a foundation project. He's like, hey, Luciana, you ever heard of ayahuasca? And as soon as he said that, no joke, my entire world went, oh, I just like this vibration went through me. And I said, no, but how do I get it? I just knew that was something I needed to try. And so it was, we had that journey in Tanzania, and it was within 3 weeks after that, it was my first journey, Peru, to ingest ayahuasca. So really, plant medicine, though, is much more than ayahuasca. I did what's called a dieta in the jungle on a little island in the Peruvian Amazon. And the idea with a dieta, the quick and dirty on it, is it's not to diet, it's not to lose weight, right? It means you diet